Go. Come on and come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hey. I think I did it. Let me see. Oh yeah, we good. We good. Let me send out a quick message real quick. Man, I don't really wanna. What's going on, everybody? Give me about 60 seconds here, and I'll get going. About 60 seconds here, and I will get going. What's going on, y'all? All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start having this conversation. Hey, what's going on? All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start having this conversation. Remember, if you in here, man, I am not on the actual platform that you're watching it from. So I need you to just drop a comment or something so that I know that you're in here, man. But I wanna talk about has celebrity culture this should be, you should be able to drop a comment. I should be able to see the comment. Let me just make sure that this is set to public so that I can actually see comments that come in. Audience, public. Yeah. All right, cool. So I wanted to get on here real quick to ask the question, kind of like, has celebrity culture stolen often in relationships? And I know I look crazy this earlier. It was look like a wolf. I need to shave. But listen, so the reason I'm asking this question is because it is no secret. And I hope y'all can hear me. If you can hear me, make sure type something so I know you guys can hear me fine. But there is no secret to the fact that has been many different scandals that occurs within that has been occurring within what we will call Christianity here. And there's no secret that it's not a new thing. Like things have been issues for a while. It's not like a new thing. It's predates my existence, my following of Christ. However, and I believe every generation thinks this, and so I'm going to fall into that same thinking. And that is that what we're dealing with is actually different. Now, that's not a crazy belief. Even though everybody, it is true that everybody deals with different things. So that is true for sure. However, what we do know is that the Bible explicitly tells us that things will get worse, right? That things will get worse. Okay. And so as the culture continues to go on, as life continues to go on, the things that we see may not be new, but they will progressively be worse. right? They will not be new, but they will be progressively worse, if that makes sense. Now, along with that, it's this issue that we are seeing, and that is that we as people are entrusting ourselves to people that have the most likes and follows, despite or instead of or rather than following the people or entrusting ourselves to the people that we can touch, trusting ourselves to the people that we can embrace, touching and trusting ourselves to the people whose kitchen table or dinner table we sit at, or we at least we're invited to sit at. And what I mean by that is that I am seeing, and I'm not seeing, I've seen it, that typically what is happening in the church has adopted this mindset, this secular thought, beyond from that. I don't know why this is doing that. This secular thought from that. Hold on, and hold on right quick. Oh yeah, the secular thought from that, and that thought is that, man, that we adopt and attract ourselves to those individuals who what we would call the celebrity culture, those individuals who are the popular people, those individuals who have the most followings. It's even to the point that like, if you want me to be real here at 10 a.m., might as well get real before my 11 o'clock meeting. But it's even to the point that certain believers won't even reshare or repost something that you put if you don't have enough followers, if you don't have enough likes. It's completely sad. It's completely secular. But in the same sense, we found ourselves also entrusting ourselves to the wisdom and the guidance, those individuals who have the most likes, the celebrities, and we'll just call them celebrities for the sake of this conversation. And I'm not saying they're all celebrities, nor am I saying that they're all bad or all wrong. However, what I am saying, or what I am asking is, has that stolen authentic relationships? Right? And and where I begin to see the problem exists is, I begin to see the problem exist when these individuals have shortcomings, when these individuals fall short, when these individuals fall into scandal, right? And what happens is, you see the body of Christ begin to have all of these conversations around these falls, right? So the most recent situationship was what's the dude named Dewan or whatever, and so he was the relationship guru that people followed, and he's a charlatan, man. He was a wolf, and I don't know. It's a little bit of confusion around when it actually happened versus it now being exposed. So was he doing this stuff when he was doing that, or did once he got exposed, did he change his life around and then he started doing it? But it seems like it's the other way around, and even the way that he's dealing with it is just really not right. But this was a relationship guru that people would talk about. Oh yeah, he gave great relationship advice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's okay. The problem is, the same people won't commit themselves to local marriage counseling. The same people won't commit themselves to premarital counseling with their pastor or with somebody that they know that does that type of work, right? And so they'll because this guy is popular, will get our relationship advice for him, know nothing about him other than what he says to you. And let's be honest, I can be whoever I want to be right here. I can be whoever I want to be right here. I can be the most boring person. I can be the most exciting person if all you know about me is from what's right here. right? And so from right here, this person is spewing all types of everything, and you're flocking, and people are flocking to this individual's advice. Hey, Leah, are flocking to this individual's advice, right? But then won't, and so, and essentially they're entrusting their relationships to this individual. They're entrusting their marriage to the advice of this individual, and know nothing about this individual outside of who this individual wants you to believe he is or she is right here. And then it blows up, right? And then what happens? Well, then we just start to bash, we start to talk about. But the problem is, why did you entrust yourself to this person and over entrusting yourself to your pastor, entrusting yourself to your therapist, entrusting yourself to your marriage ministry, your leader, your relationship leader, whatever, entrusting yourself to somebody that is actually on the ground, that you can sit at their dinner table, that you can question, you can call, you can text, right? Somebody you can touch. And too often, I'm using that as an example, but too often that is the culture anymore. It is the idea that whomever gets the most shares, whoever gets the most likes, whoever has the most followers, whoever gets the most YouTube views, whoever has the bigger audience, I'm going to listen to that person, even if they are not locally connected to me. Right. And I'll even entrust myself to them over my local leaders. I'm talking to the church right now. Right. I'm talking to the church right now. I'm talking to the person who, when the pastor gives you some advice, you ignore that advice, the local pastor, you ignore that advice to say, well, Mike Todd said this, or to say, or you ignore that advice to say, Tony Evans said this. Now, great people, not saying the advice is wrong. However, they're giving blind advice, meaning the person that is discipling you, the person that is walking with you, the person that is doing life with you, they are giving you biblical, they should be giving you sound biblical advice based upon you, and understanding who you are, and understanding your process of thinking, and understanding how you navigate the different issues of your life, the different struggles you have in your life. Their advice is coming from a place of wisdom, a place of knowledge, a place of prayer, prayerfully, right? Because they're on the ground with you. But the culture that we live in will forsake that. They will not entrust themselves to that wisdom or that sound counsel or that godly counsel, but then will entrust themselves to somebody because they have the most likes, they have the bigger following, and they may not be connected. You may not can call them, pick up the phone, email them. They won't respond to your email, but you entrust yourself to them over your local leader because celebrity status. And so the authentic relationship, and understand something. I'm not saying that you won't get wronged by entrusting yourself to somebody on the local ground. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is, has the celebrity culture stolen authentic relationships? Let me give you some Bible here. I always love this verse. Paul says in Philippians 3, verse 2. I'm sorry, not verse 2. Verse 17. He says, brothers, join in imitating me. Okay, listen what he says, brothers, join in imitating me. First things first. How do I imitate somebody that I cannot be in relationship with? Right? Imitating somebody is not doing what you see them do on a screen. Right? My son imitates the things that I do. You know how my son imitates the things that I do? Because he's been looking into me. He's been studying me, right? And so over time of being with me, he begins to do things that he saw me do. But it's because proximity of relationship, right? Brothers, join in imitating me. And keep your eyes, here it is, on those who do what? Walk according to the example you have in us. Brothers, Philippians 3:17, join in imitating me and keep your eyes on those who walk according to the examples that you have in us. In us. And this is so interesting because let me just finish it. Because then he says, for many of whom I have often told you, and now tell you, even with tears, walk as enemies of the cross of Christ. Their end, verse 19, is destruction. Their God is their belly, and they glory in their shame, with minds set on earthly things. But our citizenship is in heaven, and from it we await a Savior, the Lord Jesus, who will transform our lowly bodies into the glorious body by the power that enables him even to subject all things to himself. Brothers, join in imitating me and keep your eyes on those who walk according to the example you have in us, according to the apostles' example, the apostles' teaching, those who are walking according to the scriptures. For many, and here he says, for many of whom I have often told you. How many times have we been trying to warn you? Don't follow them. You don't know anything about them. Look, and now with tears, walk as enemies of the cross of Christ. Their end is their destruction. And why? Because their God is their belly and their glory is their shame, with minds set on earthly things. How do you know if the person that you are entrusting yourself to is imitating the things of the scriptures, if the only knowledge you have of them is the words they speak to you through a screen? I can be anybody I want to be right here. But the way that you learn to know if I'm really somebody you can entrust yourself to, it's by being in proximity to me. It's by knowing me. It's by walking with me. It's that discipleship process that invites you into my life, that invites me into your life as I invite you, vice versa, into my life, right? Three aspects of discipleship: cognizant, information, relational, right? Enter into my life one-on-one, sharing each other with each other, and experiential, right? Allowing you hands-on to go and do the things that you have been learning and that you have been seeing me do, right? Three aspects of discipleship. Right. And but we have allowed the person with the most followers. And listen, understand, if you belong to a church, to a leadership that has a really big following, then great. Imitate them. They are there. You go there. You can touch them peripherally. Right. But too often, there are people who belong to smaller groups. You eat dinner with them. You call a phone for your issues. They're up with you at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, dealing with all your problems, but you will not entrust yourself to their wisdom. In the past, there have been people who would just throw what I'm saying to the side. Though I'm walking with them, though I'm sacrificing with them, though I know everything about what's going on in their life, throw what I'm saying to the side, one for an itchy ear. Somebody else is telling them something that they want to hear, or because this TV person, this celebrity said this, right? But let's talk relationships. Anybody that's connected to us, and so I'm not talking about nobody specifically currently in our ministry, but anybody that's connected to us know they have full access to my wife and I's relationship, right? Y'all know what we go through. Y'all know how we overcome. Y'all know what we've overcome. Y'all know that we love. There's no scandal of adultery or fornication or lust or weird, creepy things in our relationship, right? We don't have any of that, right? And we've come from many things to get to where we're at. But some individuals will not entrust themselves to our wisdom of relationships, but they'll go out and go buy a book by somebody else, right? And I'm not saying that that's bad, but what I'm saying is, why are you doing that? Right? If you have people that are connected to you, that you can touch, that you can walk with, that you can smell, right? That you can behold, right? 1 John 1, that which we have seen, that which we have beheld, that which we touch, this we know, right? Because I have been in proximity with this individual. Why not entrust yourself to them this, regardless if they get 50,000 likes on a post, regardless if they get 1,500 people to watch a YouTube service, regardless if they fill an auditorium, regardless if they, right? They are those people that are on the ground with you. And if we learn how to entrust ourselves to the people that we can touch, and trust ourselves to the people that we can look into their life, we can long into their life and to see how they're living and to make sure. And nobody's going to be perfect. So that doesn't mean that they'll walk in perfection, right? But the beauty of entrusting yourself to somebody on the ground is you also get to see the areas of their life that they have to continue to give to the Lord for deliverance. And so you also get to see grace and imperfection. And true grace and imperfection. Not, I got caught, so now I got to go do a video and make it like I'm sorry. No. You get to walk with them and see them constantly living in a state of repentance. Not because you caught them, but because this is their life. They're acknowledging, they're doing their nighttime daily breakdown and realizing I was mean to my wife today. I need to repent of that. And by the way, you saw me being mean to my wife today, and you saw me repent of that. You didn't catch me. Nobody blasted me on social media. Nobody recorded a phone conversation. I am doing this because I live in a life of repentance of my imperfections. You get to see a good example of what it looks like to live according to the grace of God while pursuing holiness and embracing forgiveness, right? These are the things that happen when you entrust yourself to individuals that you can touch, okay? But instead, we don't do that. And why, right? Drop a comment. Tell me why. Because I feel like as the days get worse, we are going to have to do that. We're going to have to learn how to stop focusing on the most who has the bigger platform and start focusing on who can I entrust myself with my walk, my relationships, my soul. Somebody that I know ain't a joke out here. Somebody that I know ain't giving me relationship advice while being a serial cheater. But I don't know they're a serial cheater because I can be anything I want to be if all you learn about me is through a screen. It's easy. It's the biggest way to do it. Put me on the screen and let me tell them anything I want to tell them. Right? Let me tell y'all something. Let me give y'all another scripture here. Let me give y'all some Bible here. 2 Corinthians 11. But whatever anyone else dares, verse 21. But whatever anyone else dares to boast of, I'm speaking of as a fool. I also dare to boast of that. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the offspring of Abraham? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I'm a better one. I'm talking like a madman with far greater labors, far more imprisonments, with countless beatings, and often near death. 5 times I received at the hands of the Jews the 40 lashes, less one. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea on frequent journeys, and dangers of rivers, and dangers of robbers, and dangers of my own people, dangers from the Gentiles, dangers in the city, dangers in the wilderness, dangers at sea, dangers from false brothers. Listen to this brother's resume. All of this he's doing for the ministry of the gospel. You got brothers that won't do a fifth of this, won't sacrifice a fifth of this, but they're the ones that we want to entrust ourselves with. Verse 27, in toil and hardship, through many a sleepless nights, and hunger and thirst, often without food, and cold and exposure, and apart from other things, there is the daily pressure of my anxiety for all the churches. Who is weak? Am I not weak? Who is made a fool? And am I not indignant? If I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness. The God, the Father of the Lord of Jesus, who is blessed forever, knows that I am not lying. At Damascus, the governor under King Aretas was guarding the city of Damascus in order to seize me, but I was let down in a basket through a window in a wall, and I escaped. Right? What is that? What was all of that I just read? This was Paul having to run down his commitment to the people that he spent 19 months with, pouring into, loving on, right? Having anxiety over, right? And he has to defend himself because they're turning to these super apostles, right? These super apostles, and they're starting to question Paul's authority, Paul's commitment, Paul's love for them, Paul's ability to lead them. Should they be they don't want to entrust themselves to Paul. And so they want to entrust themselves to these super apostles when you read 2 Corinthians 11. But now, and so Paul had to run down like, hey, don't question my commitment, right? But then he says, but when you go further, before he runs all of that down, he tells you why it is not safe to entrust yourselves to certain people, because he says this in verse 12. And what am I doing? I will continue to do in order to undermine the claim of those who would like to claim that their boasted mission, they work on the same terms as we do. For such men are what? False apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Listen, how do you know? How do you know? Right? If you're not walking with these people, we have to learn to start entrusting ourselves to people that we can sniff out, people that we can touch, people that we can watch. Hey, can I come over for dinner? Can I be entered into your life? We have to learn to entrust ourselves to those individuals, because guess what? If a tree is known by the fruit it bears, guess what? I did a message, probably like 7 years ago, at Hope Alliance, and I talked about, remember Grandma used to put the fruit tree, the little fruit basket on the table, right? And it was perfect, man. It was the reddest apple, the orangest orange, the yellowest banana. It looked so amazing, perfectly waxed, because it was fake. But from a distance, as I'm looking at this fruit, I'm like, yo, that looked like good fruit. That looked like, oh, that's perfect fruit. Right? But then you look at them, but then you got some fruit right in front of you, and it's like, this fruit is deformed. They got some lumps in it. Maybe it's not the best, but ooh, that's some good fruit. Then you walk up to it. And when you walk up to it, you go to grab it, and what you realize, it's ceramic, it's glass, it's not real, it's fake. Why am I saying that? Because the only way to know if fruit is good is you can't be at a distance examining it. The only way to know if fruit is good is you got to get up close to it. You got to touch it. You got to spend time with it. You got to know, because the fruit that may be looking over here and it may have a little brown spot, you may look at that as bad fruit, right? And you may look at the thing over there that's fake as good fruit, right? But then you get up to that thing and you realize that this ain't even real fruit. And then what you realize is that apple that had the brown spot actually is the better apple for you, right? If you actually spend some time with it. Right. But my point is, if we're going to entrust ourselves to somebody, make sure that we're entrusting ourselves to somebody that we can touch, and stop forsaking those individuals that are on the ground with you because they're not a celebrity. Because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about, we live in a culture in the church, especially the younger Christians, have adopted the mentality that whoever I see it all the time. I am a watcher, people. As much as I talk, I watch a lot more. I say a lot less than what I do say. And when I go silent for a while, it's not because I'm bored. It's because I'm observing a lot more and I'm taking notes, and I see it. I watch who gets reshares, right? I watch the same thing be said by somebody with 10 followers get no likes. But then somebody will say the exact same thing who has 100K followers and is getting reshared. Why? Why? You know why? Because what we reshare, we start to get those likes too, and it starts to draw attention to our own page. Like it's not about content anymore. It's about trying to put ourselves in a different light or on a platform with somebody, and so we're resharing their stuff to try to steal likes and followers. But we have to get back to realizing that when we do that, when these scandals come out and now we're all broken, it's like, well, you entrusted yourself. Why? Now it's different if you like, oh, I trusted myself to somebody and I was on the ground with them, man, and they played me. Yeah, man, that's broken. You did what was right and got played. But many of us are entrusting ourselves to celebrity people. Because I don't know when the gospel became celebritized, right? And so if we read our Bible, a red flag should be raised when the gospel is popular, right? Because the world hates the message of Christ, right? So when they're embraced, anyway. So, that's another day. But my point is, if you're going to entrust, Jesus said, "What? I do not entrust myself to a man, for I know what is in a man." Now, we don't know everything that is in a man, but Jesus is telling us the formula. Listen, when I know people, I don't entrust myself to them. So the opposite is true. How are you entrusting yourself, your soul, your relationships, your walk with somebody that you don't know? Sure, the information may be good, but I want more than information. I want to see that information practically lived out in your life. How do you apply that information? And I'm going to tell you, man, as a pastor, you want to know when you know people, when you know that you live an authentic life in front of people, when you feel like a fraud sometimes, right? When you be like, dang, man, I got angry right there. And my people know I got angry, right? And then you start to feel like, man, I don't even want to, man, I need to sit down for a week or so, man. I just got angry, right? Because, but guess what? The only reason that becomes it bothers you because of your spirit, but it also bothers you because you don't live behind a closed door. People get to see you be real. And they get to learn about a life to imitate that is in a constant state of genuine repentance, that is in a constant state of genuine growth and authenticity. And so I got on here, hold on. It's my 11 a.m. making sure I'm still good. I just got on here because I'm just that little relationship guy situation, all these other situations. And I'm like, listen, y'all, why do we care so much in the body? Man, I don't care what these people do. I care what they do because they make the body look bad. But I don't entrust myself to them. Anybody you see me entrust myself to, I can touch. Period. And that's why I don't trust myself to a lot of people. Because if I can't be let in, I don't entrust myself to you. Because I need real. Right? I need what Paul said. I need what Paul said. Right? I need to be able to imitate and keep my eyes on those who walk according to the examples that I have in them. Paul says in Corinthians 11, follow me as I follow Christ. Well, how do I know that you're following Christ? Because you said some good words. Saying good words don't mean that you're an imitator of Christ. It just means you're a regurgitator of information. Anybody can regurgitate information. The Pharisees regurgitated information. That's why Jesus said what? Oh, come see, y'all gonna get me preaching this morning. I got a little bit of time too. Y'all get me preaching this morning. Matthew, I may be making that up. Matthew 23, verse 1. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, the scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do, for they preach, but they do not practice. And many of us are okay with the preaching without the practice. But no. Not only is, and we can twist this. Jesus is not saying, hey, it's okay, ignore their practice and just hear their words. No, he's condemning them as a whole and telling his disciples not to follow them. But because Jesus teaches about authority and constituted authority, what he's saying is, listen, they sit on the seat of Moses. They are the scribes and the Pharisees, the teachers of the law. So they're hypocrites for sure. But some of the things that they're telling you is not wrong. They just don't put it into practice, right? But Jesus, but watch what Jesus says. Watch what he says. Verse 4, he said, they tie up heavy burdens hard to bear, and they lay them on people's shoulders. But they themselves are not willing to move them with a finger. They do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their proselytes broad and their fringes long. Come on, we hear them people, where your fringes at, right? And they love the place of honor at feast and the best seats in the synagogue. My pastor taught me a long time ago. I do this, man. I'll go visit a church as a pastor, and I'll go sit somewhere in the middle row. My pastor taught me that a long time ago, man. I don't need to be honored as a pastor. And understand, I'm not saying that the office of the pastor is not important, but so is there's a whole bunch of other offices that are important. When I come into a place, I'm not the king. I'm not a celebrity. Yo, what's the, I'd rather know if this is the best seat, let the people who've been faithful to this ministry have the best seat. Don't give it to me. I don't do nothing here. I don't serve here. I don't give here. I don't tithe here. Don't give me the seat of the people who are sacrificing daily in this ministry because I walked in and I don't need that seat. What's the most available seat? I'll take that seat. Anyway, verse 7, and greetings in the marketplace and being called rabbi by others. They want to be called pastor. They don't want to be a pastor. They just want to be called a pastor. They don't want the 3 a.m. phone calls, right? They don't want to be up all night, 4 a.m. in the morning. They don't want to do the sacrifices. They don't want to have the fuse with their spouse because because somebody's in a hot situation and they got to be on the phone with that person till 1 in the morning. Like, they don't want those type of issues. They just want to be called pastor. Verse 8, but you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers, and call no man your father on earth, for you have one Father who is in heaven. Neither be called instructor, for you have one instructor, the Christ. Then it talks about the greatest among you. But then he says in verse 13, but woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces, for you neither enter yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in. Woe to you, Pharisees, who travel across the land to make a single proselyte, and when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourself. Why did I read all of that? Because what he is telling you is he is not endorsing the fact that, hey, yeah, just follow them if they preach well. He's actually saying, if you follow them, you will become twice the child of hell as themselves. Because we are to be imitators of those who walk according to the teachings in the scriptures. But how do we know? But how do we know, guys? If we only entrust ourselves to people that can be whoever they want to be right here, but forsake the people on the ground, right? It's time to start entrusting ourselves to the people on the ground doing the work with us. Tap in to your other people. Listen, I like listening to Mike Todd. I tap into him. I haven't read his book yet. I won't get it, but I'm like, I write my own book, low key. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to get him rich. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I be feeling like, I'm like, man, we got 13 million discipleship curriculums out here that people are charging you 20, 30, 40 bucks for. Man, I don't need to get you rich to learn how to disciple. Everything I learned how to disciple by being discipled. Right? The curriculum that we use at Reach for discipleship, I'm using it because I found it and I read it and I said, hey, he actually says everything that I've been saying. And so this is a good curriculum. He didn't teach me, right? I don't need to buy a million. I don't need to get somebody else rich to read their relationship book, which is really just a testimony of how they got to where they're at in their own relationship. I got my own relationship that I'm lived through, walked through, learned through, right? And guess what? And I'll give that information to you for free. Just hit me up, right? Everything in the kingdom don't need to cost. That's another secular thought. Right? How do we maximize or brand ourselves in such a way to create a living off of giving information to people to make them better? Like, listen, I got tons of it. Listen, you want some relationship advice? Me and my wife got some stuff for you. We'll help you. Come to us, man. You ain't got to buy me ain't no book. You ain't got to do now. Obviously, if I go make a book, I understand you got to charge because of publishing and stuff like that. But what I'm simply saying is, I don't go buy every book. I don't need, because I have people on the ground. When I needed to learn how to be a husband, I didn't go buy a book about how to be a husband. I hit up the people on the ground that have been husbands for 30 years. And I say, yo, man, give me some advice. Walk with me. Teach me how to do this married thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because I have people I can entrust myself to that I can smell, I can touch. Right? And I knew their life was real. I knew their life was authentic. I'm not saying they'll be perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. But what I'm saying is stop forsaking people that you can touch for the celebrities. Tap into them. They're additional information. They're checkpoints, right? I listen to other pastors, right? But I'll just be honest again, primarily the pastors I listen to outside of myself, they're local. Being honest, there are people that I got a relationship with. Most other people that I listen to, I ain't going to typically have a relationship with them. And I know that their practice and their word lines up. Just being honest. Right. So I listen to my brother Nate. I listen to my brother Josh. I listen to my brother Lab. I listen to Vernon. Right. I listen to my pastor. Right. I'll tap into a John Malone's message. Right. Like there are people that I know. I'll tap into Rodney Mayton at times. Right. There are people that I know on the ground that I can trust. Right. In apologetics, man, I'm tapping into Damon Richardson. But I guess what? With Damon Rich, I also email. Even though I don't know him personally, I can email him. I message him. He responds back. We have interactions. I tap into the Vince Bontus because I can message him. I can email him papers that I'm writing, and he'll look at it. He tell me send it in. Let me check it out. You know what I'm saying? These are people that I can talk to, tap into. Even if I ain't going to have dinner with them because they're in a different state, I can get them on a line, or I can get them on an email, or I can get them on a DM. Right? So we tap into those people. Yes, they're good. I'm not saying don't, but all I'm saying is stop entrusting yourself to them over the people on the ground. Right? And I'm saying that with a pastor's heart right there. Right? Some of you people that are going to be watching this your pastor will never tell you this because we as pastors aren't allowed to say nothing. You guys can say whatever y'all want about us. We're not allowed to say anything, though. But listen, you are breaking your pastor's heart because your pastor sees you ignore their advice while going off to listen to some mega ministry, some self-help books advice. And then you crash. Guess what? And then it don't work. And then now your pastor got to deal with the fallout and the pickup. Right? Right. And this doesn't mean hit your pastor up. At Reach, we have discipleship. So if you from Reach City Church, don't break your discipler's heart. If they're pouring into you, hit them up before you go consult with somebody that got millions of followers. Hit up the person that's been walking through life with you. See if they got any advice for you. Because guess what? A lot of times they will also offer you, if they're really studied, if they're really in tune with certain things, they will also resource you. They'll say, hey, you know what? Here's a really good book, man, by the way, on this type of subject. Oh, I put all my books up. Here's some really good advice. I mean, this guy has some really good thoughts on this. Has some really good thoughts on this, right? Man, this guy has some really good thoughts on covenant marriages. Hey, man, you're really thinking about, man, there's some really good information on things to be prepared for if you're getting ready for marriage. Hey, man, this book is solid, man. If you really want to understand marriage biblically but not just biblical marriage, how to combat secular ideas of relationships and datings, right? For instance, you never marry the right person. Everybody walking around trying to find the right person, man. Let me tell you, man. Anyway, right? If you're talking to somebody that's actually committed to different things, they can actually point you in the right direction so that you're not going out there picking up any type book, some any type author telling you all types of stuff that's crazy. Then you do it, and then it's like, well, what book was you reading? Right? Okay. Side note, as I get out of here, let me help you guys out some more, man. On the back of any book you read, man, they're gonna have a little bit of something on there, right? They're gonna have a little bit of breakdown of them, right? And if you're reading any like Christian book, theological book, et cetera, man, they're gonna somewhere on there, they're gonna have a bio about where they're at. What are their credentials to write? I don't want the electrician man, the electric man to write my book on chicken, right? But they also have in the book, they'll have pages like this where other people write inserts about the book, right? And so that matters because who says this book is good? Right? Who's right? But then also just take the name and put the name in Google and find out. Here's the thing from my Christians, Find out their theological background. If you're going to pick up a book by somebody that's a Christian author, you want to go, what school did they go to? And I'm not saying they had to go to school, but typically if they're writing a book, they went to school. And the reason I'm saying what school did they go to, because under the school that they go to will also, it starts to help you understand their theological positioning, their worldview, et cetera, et cetera. So what did they go to school? If they did, what school did they go to? Right? Read their bio. You know, what are their what churches do they belong to? What's their theological positioning? Because believe it or not, your theological position influences your position on more things than whatever just that theology is, right? My eschatology influences far more than just what happens when I die, right? The resurrection of Jesus Christ that we'll be talking about here in the next couple of weeks, that doctrine informs more than just bodily resurrection when I die. Right? So what they believe about these things will inform you on how they think about other things. And so I need to, so do your research on the author before you go purchase their book and start reading yourself and entrusting yourself to them. So guess what? Why is the first place to start maybe with somebody on the ground level? Because you already know them. You already know their theology. You already know their thinking. Right? So you know this already. So you know, oh, I can go to this person because they think like this. That's why in research, we call that a primary source, right? You need your primary source. Your primary source, when you start in research, as you research a primary source, well, sometimes you got to get back to your primary source, but that's your primary source. Then your primary source can begin to point you to some secondary or some tertiary sources. They begin to help point you in the right direction. Hey, man, here's good books to read on this subject, et cetera, et cetera. You want to understand the resurrection of Jesus Christ? If you want to read all of this, listen, this right here is one of the tops, right? Things like that, right? But that's so entrust yourself to the person on the ground. So that's my thoughts. Any comments, any questions? I got an 11 o'clock, so I can be on here for about 10 minutes. If anybody got a specific question or comment they want to ask me. But that's all I wanted to say. Man, I'm not against celebrity people. I just want to make sure that you're entrusting yourself to people you can touch, people on the ground, people you can smell, you can do life with. They might be messy. I ain't saying they ain't gonna be. They might be messy, but you know them. Because again, I can be whatever I want to be in this screen. Check the bibliography. Yes, Leah. It's a reason why your professors make you do a bibliography in the paper. They got to check your sources. Your sources guide your thoughts. When I'm talking about, so like in the evangelical world, they hate that I do this. Hold on, but so in the evangelical world, whenever I'm talking about like issues of like social gospel and things like that, they hate this guy, right? And I love this guy, as he's a leader, a forerunner, and things of teaching and understanding the social gospel. They hate guys like him. Right. So they'll read they'll see that and be like, oh, we already know where he's going with this. Why? Because the bibliography informs the thinking. You know, when I'm talking about issues about horizontal relationships and loving our neighbors, believe it or not, man, I lean more towards a Lutheran theology on it. I reject tons of Lutheran theology. But when it talks about the importance of loving the neighbor, man, I lean more towards them. I don't go as far as kind of the embracing of the shipwrecking of your faith and on the issues of soteriology. But when it comes to the covenant responsibility to love your neighbor, I lean more towards a Lutheran. You'll see me quote Lutheran scholars on that. And somebody will read my paper and they'll be like, all right, I understand exactly where you I know. That's why some people already know where he's going. Right. That's what the bibliography does. It just tells, I already know where he's going. Right. Yeah, Leah, that's good. What else we got? Any questions? Any thoughts? I know I went long. Well, actually, technically I went short. I had some questions. Christians need to imitate discipleship, not long distance. Absolutely. Some folks want long distance because they don't want to be held accountable. And because folks really, and that some people are mature enough to pull back the skin and get to the fruit when they see blemishes. Exactly. You can't entrust yourself to a dude or lady on the screen, have no clue. And that's exactly what I was essentially saying. Right. It's not that you don't tap into these people. It's the entrusting yourself. And too many people are only getting their relationship advice, their theological advice, their understanding of Christianity from somebody on the screen. And what's so crazy is, and I witnessed this, and I'm not even saying necessarily from members of Reach, but I'm saying I talk to a lot of people in this city. Believe it or not, I give advice to more people than they would ever tell you that I talk to Tanks about this stuff. Like I've given advice and said things straight from the Bible, right from the scriptures, broke it down exegetically, explained it all. And literally they'll tell me, yeah, but such and such said this, man. And it's like, all right, we're back. Cool. Go listen to such and such then. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know, but why does such and such say that? Because something that we have to also understand about teaching is that there is always something also influencing the teacher. Right. So if I have a bend towards something, it's going to pour out, right? And so maybe why that person is saying it is not because it's biblical, but because it's a narrative of their perspective. You get what I'm saying? And so, but if I'm coming to you, and we were talking, me and my guys were talking about commentaries, and I was talking about why from a deeper study standpoint, I'm not a fan of like the one-off commentary. So like, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but oh well, like the Moody commentary, the Bible Knowledge, Baker. I like Baker. Tony Evans. And I'm not saying these are bad commentaries. What I'm saying is they're one-off commentaries, which means they're not going to show their work a lot. So they'll give you really good thoughts. And I'm not saying what they're saying is wrong, but what I'm saying is I need, if I'm going to read a commentary, I need to read a commentary that actually breaks down from the beginning of the exegetical or the interpretive journey and walks it all the way through. So I want to know everywhere along the step, how you got to this conclusion, right? If I'm just reading the print at the bottom of my Bible, my study Bible, well, how in the world did you get to that? Because it'll just say verse 16, 17 means this. Well, how did you get there? Right? So they're good commentaries for people and devotions and people that's not doing any type of complex or deep study. But once you get into study, I'm like, yo, those commentaries, they may give good information, but how do you know what inform their thinking? Right? And so, in that same sense, man, the people on the ground that you get to talk to, you know the way they think. My people know how I think. Those that are around me, they know, like, man, Tank, this. Right, that's what they'll tell you if I said it, if I didn't say it. They be like, no, Tank ain't say that. Tank don't even believe that. Right? People know the things that informs me. What informs my preaching? Holiness. What informs my ministry and my missional mindset? Disciple making. Right? What informs some other things that I do? Community, engagement, intentional relationships. So that is what drives me, right? And so if you understand that that's what drives me, you understand where I'm coming from when I say certain things, right? But if you don't understand that about me because you're not in relationship with me, you can't touch me, then you don't even understand, because sometimes for your situation, that mindset ain't what you talking about. You get what I'm saying? And so, but that's where I'm coming from. I see some comments down here. What we got? Sharice Thompson. Hey, yep. Show the full spectrum of thought. Baker is good. People confuse popularity with select. Our motives. Yes, our motives influence what we say. Hey, baby, this is my baby, y'all. Y'all know this is my wife. Our motivate. Hey, this is good. My wife been on this thing. She usually don't come on my lives. I usually be 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, babe, did you see my live? And she like, no, I've been busy. But our motivations influence what we say, teach, advise. Absolutely. And so, and the only way to know that about somebody is you got to talk to them, right? You got to be able to touch them. And many of us can't. And so that's all I want. Somebody said, that's all I want to say. People confuse popularity with credibility. Oh, my Jesus. Somebody said it. Come on, Leah. Hey, somebody get that girl an offering. Drop your cash app. But people confuse popularity with credibility. That's 1000% true. I'll give you an example. T.I. is popular. He's not credible on anything Trinitarian, but the brother always talking about it, and people be quoting him. I be like, what? The brother don't know the Bible. Why do we even listen? Why do we even allow him? I thought D.L. Hughley. Like these people, and they tell you, I went to church. I don't care what church you went to. You didn't learn anything. You're not credible, right? But you're popular. And so we quote them because they're popular. Well, such and such said, but such and such don't know nothing. Right? I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the shut up and dribble person. But sometimes you need to just shut up and dribble because you don't even know what you're talking about. Now, don't tell somebody that you just don't know if they know what they're talking about to shut up and dribble. Don't box them in to one place because you don't understand and know they actually do know about this. They actually do know about that. They actually do know about. But once I know you don't know nothing about it, then shut up and radio. Don't comment on things, scripture, because you don't know scripture. But you're popular. So people share and confuse everybody. What's a good commentary to get for deeper study? Eva, that's a really good question. And what I would say is depending on what you're trying to study. So again, if you are like a new believer or new to reading the Bible, then I would advise those one-off commentaries. And when I mean one-off commentaries, I mean, so like the Moody commentary, right? This is a one-off. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if y'all can see that, but this is Proverbs. So you see how it had like Proverbs 19:25, and it'll say, the humorous Proverbs pictures the sluggard as too lazy even to feed himself, but a dish of food before him, and he may summon the strength. And so kind of explaining what it means by that. But this is the entire Bible. This is the entire Bible, right? And so we're just going to go through the entire Bible and give some thoughts on certain verses to help guide you as you're reading. This is fine if you're just kind of getting into the Bible and just want some really, because this, I'm not saying this is wrong, and want some truth on what some stuff means. This would be fine. This is one-off commentary. The Moody Bible commentary will be good. I just got a new commentary that I'm actually digging into that I think is, but this is good. What's another one-off commentary? Tony Evans' Bible commentary is good. Bible Knowledge commentary. It used to be a 2-part series. If you buy it digitally, it's 1 part, but if you buy it in book, it's 2. But it's a one-off commentary. And it's been around for years. Very credible. However, you also can get whole thick commentaries like this on one book of the Bible, right? Because it's going to be exegetical, right? And so it's not about, it's about knowing. I always tell people it's about knowing what you're trying to get out of what you're looking up or what you're, what you need. So what commentary to get? Well, what are you trying to do? Right? If you're trying to understand background commentary, then this will give you some background, but it's not going to break how they got their background. This is going to give you the background. But if I want to actually get the breakdown of the background, then I'm going to get something like the Zondervan. I'm a Zondervan fan, so I'm going to get the Zondervan Illustrated Bible Backgrounds commentary for the Old and New Testament. I'm a Zondervan guy. I love Zondervan, right? If I'm just looking for, I'm studying a specific book, then I'm a Pillars type guy. I'm a New American Commentary type guy. A really good commentary series is Teach the Text commentary series, man. If you're a teacher, that's a really good series, because it breaks down things in practical ways to teach. If I'm studying words, then I may get a word studies in the New Testament, right? I may get an exegetical commentary, right? And so again, it just depends. I don't want to confuse you, but it just depends on kind of what you're going for. But if you're just starting off reading the Bible and just want some biblical thought and something to guide your studies, then a one-off commentary is going to work. But if you're trying to get into the bones of understanding where people are coming from, the difference on a one-off commentary is if you tell me what was said by this guy in verse 6, and I challenge you on that, can you defend that outside of saying, well, Tony Evans said, right? You know what I'm saying? So this commentary ain't gonna let you really defend it outside of saying, well, such and such said. Other commentaries, if you're gonna use them, are gonna show the work. So now you're able to be like, well, because when we're looking at, well, the reason that I know this is because this word right here is an adjective. It's describing something. It's not a, you know what I'm saying? It's not an action. And so that means this text can't mean that. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of like, that's kind of what that stuff does. So I don't know if I confuse you more or not. Hey, son. All right, give me 1 second. I'll press. You got to press the middle button. Remember, press OK. Yep, the middle button. This happens within the church and leadership as well. Some folks will ignore you if you don't have certain credentials or years of experience. You can get great advice and even hear directly from the Lord, and they will ignore you. You know, that's true too. That's true too. Now I will say in the church, I don't know what we mean. I'm assuming you mean certain credentials, meaning a degree. In the church, again, though, I'm going to tell it like this. Like, this is me. This is me. The person that you're talking to needs to know what they're talking about. It's wise counsel. Everybody in the church don't give wise counsel, because especially if all their information is influenced by the secular world, right? So you're in the church and you're talking about, like, you better get that money then. Like, that's that wise? Have you processed through with them? Should you get that job? I know they paying you that much, but what is your purpose? What is God pointing to your purpose for? Like, is this other job that pays less part of your purpose though? Right? Like, get the money ain't the answer. Like, that's secular, that's worldly, right? Now, and so everybody in the church ain't giving godly advice or sound counsel either. So I will say it's not necessarily about the credentials, but man, I'm going to lean towards somebody who can walk through with me that does have, and years of experience doesn't mean that you know it all. However, the Bible does talk about the wisdom of the elders. And so experience does lend to wisdom. And so, you know, if I'm talking to the person that just got married 5 months ago, and they're telling me something that's different from the person that got married 20 years ago, and it's contradictory, now I got to begin to weigh that. And first off, which one gave me Bible with it? Biblical, actual biblical truth. That's first thing. The other one is, you know, I've been praying about it, and I'm not going to say it's kind of like, well, what has I been sensing? Because the Bible tells us we'll raise up people to feed our itching ears. But I will more than likely lean towards the person that's been married for 20 some years. Man, they got the formula, healthily married. So that I agree with you, Leah. I think that becomes more nuanced than just one off. So I think it's layers to that, to understand as well. So, but I agree, it definitely does happen, and it shouldn't happen. We should be checking the advice in the same way. I got time to go in there. That's a whole nother conversation. There was something else I was going to say about that, but I'm not. I see some books on that shelf that I've been looking for. Now I know where they went. You funny. Books on my shelf are very, very limited. Some biblical dictionaries also function as commentaries, such as the IVP series. Yeah, those are commentaries. So commentaries hold a very broad name, right? People call it Bible dictionaries. They're commentaries. They're still commentaries. Great info, thanks. It's definitely nuanced facts. All right. Well, I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Nope. So yeah, man. So that's all. But again, I just wanted to get on here and share that, man. And I thank you guys for hanging out with me, man. And so just for the people who will take a quote or a clip, let's just be clear here. It is okay to listen to people who are popular, people who have large followings. However, if you cannot touch them, smell them, do life with them, do not entrust yourself to them over the person that you can do those things with. Entrust yourself to the person that you can imitate, because you can walk with, you can see, you can experience. Remember, 3 levels of discipleship, not 3 aspects of discipleship. It's information, it's relational, and it's experiential, right? It's if I'm giving information in relationship to life on life, we're giving you an opportunity to do it, right? So Jesus gave the disciples information while doing what? Walking with them, eating with them. And then he gave them the opportunity to experience it when he did what? When he said, go out now and go heal. When he said, hey, go bring me baskets, pass out the food, right? He let them practically get involved in the things that were being taught, right? And so those 3 things exist within discipleship. Most of us are okay with information. That's why we'll entrust ourselves to the person giving us information. But I already gave y'all Matthew 23. Information and practice are not the same thing. Most people stop at information. Let's take from information and move to relationship. Who can give me information? I'm going to entrust myself to the person that I can be in relationship with that's giving me that information, right? So that's all I got, man. I got to get off here. I got to go. I got 11:15 that I got to get ready for. Thank you guys for listening. Share this. Man, drop some more comments in there. And I just want to, again, be very clear for the person who skips to the end of the video. I am not saying popular people, celebrity people don't listen to. What I'm saying is don't entrust yourself to them over the person that you can walk with, talk with, do life with, right? They do not supersede the people on the ground doing the work and doing life with you, period. I don't care who they are. So love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful Thursday.